Hi, in this video we're going to look at the Sales Forecast tab of the main Promo Planner 4 data collection template. Now, you'll remember from previous videos we've already listed all the products that we want to include in this portfolio under the Product Setup tab, and we added some extra information about those products on the Product Profile tab. But now we come to the Sales Forecast tab. This is arguably the most important bit of data we're going to be adding on the data collection templates. Obviously, to work out the amount of investment we should be making for promotion, we first need to understand what your sales expectations are. So here we are. This is where we enter our sales forecast. So let's deal with the mechanics of entering the sales forecast first. That's really quite simple. All we have to do is start entering the numbers. Now, it's very important that we enter these numbers using the scale and the currency that we declared back here. From now on, all numbers we enter have to be entered with that scale and that currency. So we've just reminded ourselves what they are. Let's start putting them in. So I can start typing. 599921 is my forecast for Paynix last year. 2019, 133 5 4 1 2 3. There we go. As you can see, that's growing pretty fast. Now I can just enter the numbers just like that and type them in, but obviously that takes time. So what I'm going to do is what I'm sure you will be doing. We'll be cutting them, pasting them from another source. Here we go, cutting them now, and I'm going to paste them in right now. Here we go, and I'm going to paste values, of course, because we mustn't destroy the formats. So there they all are. I have my sales forecasts all entered in. Now, the Promo Planner template's not just here for us to collect the data. It also allows us to do some high-level analysis. And with the sales forecast, we do a couple of things. Firstly, we add up all the product forecasts to come to a year total, and you can see that here on the sum line. And below that, we calculate the year-on-year growth. So it's definitely worth having a look at those two calculations and making sure that what you see there is in line with your expectations. I mean, in this example, we seem to be growing around 8 to 9% for a couple of years. There's a sudden jump to 13% growth. We jump back down to our average 9% growth, it seems, before our growth tails off quite sharply. So do look at those and make sure that they are in line with what you're expecting. These consolidated numbers, they give us a general view of what our portfolio is doing, but that general view might be disguising some of the detail. So, as well as that, if we go all the way over to the right of the template, you'll see we have a consistency check area. Now what we're doing here is looking at all of the numbers one by one, product by product, and looking at, again, the growth rate, but this time at the product level. Now, growth is shown as blue, and decline in sales is shown in red. So this gives us a very quick sense of what is happening at the more detailed level. So we have several products here which are really growing very fast indeed, and there are others down here. Let's take this one here, Certron for example, where there is a sudden drop in sales. So do have a look at this table and make sure that you have a good rationale for why you see what you see. So we've entered the sales forecasts, we've checked them at the high level, we've checked them at the detailed level to make sure that we're happy with them. So we're done. That's it. Sales forecast all entered. The last thing I want to talk about on this video now is the source of the sales forecast that you're going to submit. Now, in your organization, you'll no doubt have all kinds of different sales forecasts. There'll be demand sales forecasts, ex-factory sales forecast. There'll be derivatives of those to try and cater for the various elements of parallel trade that no doubt will be going on between your different country organizations. The best advice that we can give you is that we would like you to enter the numbers here that you find on your operating plan. This is because these numbers are going to be shown, no doubt, to some very senior managers in your organization. And if they don't see the numbers here that they are used to looking at when it comes to sales forecasts, you'll have lots of questions to answer. So the best thing to do is place the numbers here from your operating plan process. So that's it. That's the Sales Forecast tab. Now, please do read all the information that we provided for you in the what's required, the tips and hints, and do look at the quality control elements here. And then, as usual, if you have any questions or any comments you'd like to make, please add them and post them to us. Thank you very much. Now, the sales forecast is probably the area of the data collection template that we get asked the most questions about. So I'm going to take this opportunity just to go through some of them with you. The first question we're often asked is, hold on, why are we only being asked for 1 year of history? Surely you need more than that. Well, there's a very simple answer to that. We're planning, and we're planning for the future. And we're trying to create a promotional plan for the business we're expecting. So we need to look to the future. We don't need to look to the past. So that's why we're asking really only for future information from you. We do need 1 year of history, let's call it. You may remember when we set up this project, the first year we wanted to optimize was 2019. And the time horizon, if you like, that we're asking you for data starts at 2018. We do need that year of history, and that's all a part of the carryover process, which we'll discuss in later videos. But we need that year of history for two reasons: for that carryover process, but also to anchor this in reality. If we know that last year has happened, if it's in the past, we should have very concrete numbers for the sales forecast. So we know that we're starting from a very sound position. The next question we're most often asked is, why do you need so many years of sales forecast? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. Pharmaceutical selling is a long-term business by nature, and we do need to look ahead to determine what our investment should be now. So if it is the case for you that you don't have a sales forecast that gives you so many years into the future, what do? Well, the thing you mustn't do is leave some of the later years empty, just not fill them in. Don't do that, because the Pro Planner will assume that in those years your sales will be zero. And if your sales are going to be zero in a few years' time, the amount that we can invest now will obviously be less. So if you find yourself in that position, not having sales forecasts for the outer years, then we'd ask you please to apply some common sense extrapolations. If you are going to be supplying some extrapolated sales forecast data, you may be worried that they won't be very accurate. Well, don't be worried about that, because the Pro Planner knows that those years further away from now are going to be less accurate in their forecast, and all of that is built into the calculation engine. Those distant years will be weighted less than the near years when it comes to working out your optimal promotional investment.